Welcome to another episode with Suzanne Muldowney, aka Underdog, and next week is Easter. Easter's coming up, and how do you feel about not being able to go to church and participate in services and all that?
I was able to watch the Palm Sunday service on TV on station EWTN. Every day of the week, the daily mass is telecast live from EWTN's headquarters in the state of Alabama.
And that's what. So you sort of participated from your living room.
Yes.
Do you think that's what you're going to be doing during Easter?
I'm afraid so.
How does that make you feel? This is the first time that this happened, right? Usually you go every Sunday.
For the most part, I go every Sunday, but usually during the summer, because the choir does not sing at that time, I go to late afternoon Saturday masses, and they fulfill the weekend obligation.
But normally during the Easter, your whole life you went to church, right?
Yeah, sure. My mother would start making me go before I knew the first thing about it, and I was just very little then, and I couldn't keep still, and my mother would scold me afterwards.
Uh-huh. Now, as a kid, what did you think of the Easter Bunny?
It was another example of extra pressure being applied to be good in order to be worthy of receiving goodies.
So you feel about the Easter Bunny the same way you feel about Santa Claus? Is that how you look at it?
Well, the Easter Bunny isn't given press orgies, so to speak, the way Santa Claus is. Also, real life rabbits are so small they can't possibly tug around megatons of goodies and sweets all over at least a hemisphere overnight.
As a kid, did you enjoy that or no?
Well, I guess I enjoyed it, but my parents still put the idea of you better be good or you're not worthy, and some TV programs and also an old phonograph record made by Gene Autry said maybe if you're extra good you'll get something additional. But when I discovered that Santa Claus was a fake, then I realized, oh my gosh, if Santa Claus is a fake, then so are the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. I've been lied multiple ways.
Oh, so for you that was like a trifecta. You get three characters that you discovered at once that are fake.
Yes.
So how did you feel the very next Easter once you knew the Easter Bunny's fake?
My parents would have me and my brothers make up lists of candy that we wanted. So at least I knew then that it was Mom and Dad, not the Easter Bunny, that supplied the goodies.
Let's see, but does church support the idea of Easter Bunny? Does church support the idea of Easter Bunny?
No.
So you feel like it was just your parents?
No. I mean, the tradition of the Easter bunny is totally man-made. God had nothing to do with it.
I know, but don't they do stuff at churches with Easter bunnies?
They may have the younger kids participate in an Easter egg hunt, but then it's up to the organizers just to decide whether or not to have someone in disguise to mislead the kids or boost their morale.
Okay, so if you don't like the Easter bunny, what would be a better character to do that?
Does it have to be a fictional character?
Well, if you're going to use something, what would it be?
If they're supposed to hunt, eggs, then they should be types of birds that lay eggs that hatch the next generation. Chickens, ducks, robins. We always think of we associate robins as one of the first signs of spring because they're the first bird songs we hear when spring arrives.
But how do you feel about Easter chicken?
Well, an Easter chicken is realistic and authentic because chickens are known for being raised on farms to lay multitudes of eggs.
So that would probably be more appropriate than to replace the bunny with a chicken and have Easter chicken.
Yeah, chickens, ducks, robins. I don't know if there are other early spring bird species that are as prominent.
I see. Well, why do you think they got the bunny instead of a chicken?
Well, bunnies are not birds; they're mammals, and they reproduce very fast. The legend was that one time in Europe, an old woman gave some dyed eggs to children in a poorhouse, and just as the children discovered the eggs, this big rabbit leaped away. So they jumped to the conclusion that the rabbit had delivered the eggs.
Oh, so do we blame the lack of education to this, imposter, as you would call it?
I would say superstition. The children jumped to the conclusion that the children supposedly saw the rabbit make off, and then the whole town, grown-ups as well as children, claimed that the rabbit had delivered the eggs.
Let's see. And then why do we paint them?
Why do we paint the eggs?
Yeah.
Because they're signs of spring, and in reality, flowers appear in a multitude of colors. The trees come out in leaf again in different shades of green. A great many fruit-bearing plants go through a blossom phase before the fruit starts to grow.
So do you think it'd be more appropriate if the bunny brought flowers or if we had a chicken with colorful eggs?
We really shouldn't have the rabbit at all because like I said, rabbits are mammals. They do not lay eggs in order to reproduce.
Right, but if we brought flowers instead of eggs?
Well, then they would still have to hop through the gardens to somehow get hold of the flowers in their paws and then hop over somewhere across open territory to get to houses.
So you're a big supporter of a chicken idea, then, I take.
Well, we rejoice in spring because the flowers reappear. in what's become the Easter parade, the children are thrilled to get candy, but then they also decide to dress up. So would the parents, and the parents especially would wear flowers, or in case of the men, boutonnieres.
I see. So what other traditions of Easter is there anything else they dislike?
What don't I like about Easter?
Well, you mentioned the bunny and being fake and lies.
The danger of too much commercialism, emphasis on sweet treats, and the signs, things growing like the leaves and the flowers, because we have to remember the earth is renewing itself, and because Jesus rose from the dead on the original Easter.
Right, and that's why we'll celebrate.
Yes. One more thing. I want. Wait, how much time do we have left?
Oh, we have a few minutes.
Okay, but exactly how many?
It doesn't matter. Just keep talking. We'll figure it out.
All right, because there's one kind of meat that is appropriate for both Passover and Easter.
Okay, which is? Oh, is that a chicken?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
Chicken goes cluck, cluck. I said, bah!
Yes, that's the Charles Dickens, right? Bah humbug.
Lamb.
Yes, I know. I'm kidding, Suzanne. I'm kidding.
I don't like it because goodness knows how many listeners are really concentrating on everything we say, and the slightest imperfection, like an improper joke, can turn them off.
Well, it's not a proper joke. You said, bah humbug, right? Isn't that Charles Dickens?
That's for Christmas. We're talking about Passover and Easter now.
That's right. But you also mentioned that Jesus is kind of dissed by fictional characters during Christmas, Santa Claus, and during Easter, a bunny. So it seems like he's being pushed off to the side for this made-up characters.
Well, lamb is appropriate for both Passover and Easter because in the days just before the original Passover, the Israelites had to procure lambs, one apiece per household, and kill them and eat the roasted lambs with bitter herbs, and they used their hands. They didn't use tableware because the original Passover Seder was a meal prepared in haste. They had to be ready to get out of Egypt in a hurry.
I see. So too bad they didn't have a drive-through.
Well, there's your Old Testament connection. Now, with the New Testament, as long as my mother was up to making family Easter dinners, I told her the most appropriate thing was leg of lamb, because many Christian denominations call Jesus the Lamb of God.
Right. And then what would you recommend for vegetarians?
What?
How about if somebody's a vegetarian, they don't eat lamb?
Probably whatever vegetables grow naturally at Easter time.
Okay. Do you know any of them?
No, I don't.
Yeah, because it's just the springtime, so a lot of stuff doesn't really pop up yet, right?
No.
So what other traditions of Easter? Did we skip anything? Did we forget anything important?
Oh, I should explain the origin of the Easter parade.
Okay.
Most of the time when people are baptized, they're baptized when they're only infants, barely a month or so. But some people wait till later. They come over from other religions, and they decide they want to be baptized at the Easter Vigil services. So that's what happens from time to time. Now, in olden times, the people, when they were ready to be baptized at the Easter Vigil, wore long white robes. But then the next day, when it was Easter Day, and there was no other service on Easter Day because the vigil was supposed to have fulfilled the commitment, those newly baptized people wanted to show themselves off in their white robes, and they processed around the center of town, dressed accordingly. And in time, people that had been long since baptized thought, oh, we want to get dressed up too. But they didn't wear white. They wore all sorts of spring-like colors, and that's how you have the tradition of even children sometimes wearing fancy clothes and flowers. The parents certainly wear flowers, and an Easter parade does not have the same format as a conventional parade.
I see. What's the format?
Usually a parade has floats, marching bands, cheerleaders, clown troops, popular fictional characters, all sorts of costumes and groups making music or sometimes doing stunts on the move, but you don't have that. You don't have any of those in an Easter parade. It's only civilians wearing newly purchased or better self-made clothes to make themselves look fashionable, and there's no music or flags or military troops. You have just these civilians processing or sometimes maybe just walking in a circle in some enclosure while judges look them over to see how well they think the civilians are dressed in the new clothes.
See, I know you like parades, and how did that get started? I don't know if I ever asked you. Why are you so enamored by parades?
I just explained to you how.
No. Why do you think that parades are important? Like personally, not just Easter parade. I know you like all parades, but just in general, like I know you like parades.
Because I started my performing career on stage, and then after a while, I also went on television. But then after a while, I wasn't making that much progress on a stage anymore. I was still being on television once in a while, but then I saw that a parade was a way to perform for an extended length of time while traveling some required distance.
Oh, I see. So it was a venue for your expression. I just thought there was something in addition to the, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I was in an Easter parade one time. Now that was in 2004. It was in Ocean City's Music Pier Auditorium. So it was inside a building. It wasn't out in the open. I had made this very beautiful self-embroidered blouse and skirt, but I won nothing because the judges made no considerations for self-made versus purchased garments.
I see. So there was no category just so you would fit.
So I said, I'm never going to be in an Easter parade again unless the judges make considerations for self-made garments.
Because you put all that effort and it wasn't taken into account.
Yes.
I see. Now, do you feel that this Easter, considering everyone's in quarantine, practicing social distancing as they call it, do you think the Easter Bunny is not going to show, like parents have a problem explaining to their children how the eggs got in the backyard because they can't tell them the Easter Bunny showed up and the Easter Bunny's supposed to stay away, right?
The fact that if any parents decide to have children hunt Easter eggs, they have to limit the expeditions to their own backyards, and they'd have to confess to the children that they, the parents, put the eggs there.
Because that would send a confusing message to the kids. Like, why is the Easter Bunny walking around?
Why isn't the Easter Bunny showing up this time?
Right, if they don't put anything out. But if they do, then why the Easter Bunny goes to all yards instead of staying home?
That's a trap humankind has set up for itself by making up lies and then passing on those lies from generation to generation.
Right, and your point is that we should tell the truth and we shouldn't lie to kids.
Since we can afford to turn the tables after a while and rule that the children should concern themselves with reality only.
Okay. Well,
we also have to remember that the 8th commandment forbids lying. It never has made exceptions for what we call white lies.
Right, that wasn't written.
The 8th commandment forbids lying in a minimum of words.
And how do you feel, since you brought up the commandments, how do you feel about Mel Brooks' movie when they had 15 and he drops one of the tablets?
Which movie are you talking about?
Was it the Mel Brooks movie, the History of the World or something, when he shows up with 15 commandments and drops one and says, well, I got 10.
I forgot about that. I don't, most of the Mel Brooks movies I don't bother with.
Oh, no? You're not a fan?
I like a couple of his movies. I'm not a fan of his in general. I've seen one sensible dramatization. In 1976, there was a 6-part TV series called Moses the Lawgiver with Burt Lancaster.
Mm-hmm.
When he discovered the Israelites worshiping the golden calf, he didn't scream his head off and throw the tablets so that they exploded the way they did with Charlton Heston in Cecil B. DeMille's version. Burt Lancaster was much more down to earth. He said, "You people broke these commandments freely, therefore these tablets must be broken." And then we saw the actors playing the Israelites drinking the bitter water, laced with wood and gold particles from the calf.
I see.
Yes.
All right. So, can we wrap it up then for the Easter special?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Both Passover and Easter have to do with spring, the renewal of Earth, at least one hemisphere.
Right. That's right. Well, what would you do in Australia then?
They could very well have, the southern hemisphere could very well have the same kinds of services. praising God for renewing the earth, but they might very well sing a multitude of different songs because they're going into fall, not into spring.
Yeah, so that confuses the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's like being dyslexic and celebrating overpass instead of Passover. Okay, well, we'll move on. All right, well, thank you, Suzanne, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, and enjoy your Easter. I know it's going to be different this year, but you make the best of it.
Well, consider how in the original Passover, every household stuck to itself. They didn't wander the streets greeting their fellow humans. So with the individual seders are still confined to individual households. Individual Easter dinners would be confined to individual households also.
Right. So that's what we're going to do this year. Everyone's staying home.
Yes. That's to take the time out to thank God for freedom, whether it was won by the Israelite slaves or our freedom from sin because Jesus is alive again.
Right. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up, and we'll talk soon. Enjoy Easter. Happy Easter, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Bruce. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Suzanne.